So guys, this is an absolute new betting formula that I have come up with. It's called Total Value Bets, and this is all based on data. It's all real. There is no influence from me. This is all the numbers. This is all the money combined into one. So guys, for example, what this is, I took a little photo of this. I'm going to share it. You take a look at this game. North Texas at UAB. You can see the cash is on North Texas plus the 6. You look on the right, it also says the value is on North Texas. When those two things are combined, that becomes a total value bet. Normally what you get is you get the formula saying there's value here, and then the bettors going the opposite way. But when they're both aligned together, that creates a total value bet, and that's what these are. And there's 20 total. I would be very surprised if this didn't go at least 14-6, maybe 14-5-1. But I am expecting probably a 15-5 week from these bets, because normally the issue with the value, and that's PFF's value simulator in terms of betting, it costs about $10. It doesn't have nuance. The bettors, the humans, we have nuance, we understand. So when they both agree on something, for example, you can see the over-under in North Texas UAB is at 58. The public loves the over at 96% of the money, but you've got the value on the under. So that's not a value bet, because the value says the under, the public says the over. They're clashing. That doesn't create a value bet. The way it becomes a value bet is if the value is also on the over. So guys, everything aligns, everything comes together. This is totally new. I love trying different things, and there are 20 total bets on this total value, and we'll see what it does at the end, and we'll see if there's any correlation to these bets performing well or not. So we've got Louisiana -3 versus Georgia Southern. The overall value loves Louisiana to cover. The public loves Louisiana to cover the -3. They're on the same page there, so it becomes a total value bet. Of course, Georgia Southern, very good offense, kind of a bad defense. Louisiana, solid team. They are at home. I believe that game is happening tonight or tomorrow. I get Thursday and Friday games confused, guys. This is a Friday game. Colorado at USC, you know, I talked about this in my last video. A lot of people like the under in this game, and it comes down to the understanding that Colorado probably isn't going to score a lot, even with USC's bad defense. We could see something like 54-7, 51-10, where you get the under hitting. Of course, the major concern here, and honestly, I am a little concerned about this bet, because Colorado, for as bad as they are, they've been able to throw the ball a little bit. Even though they only scored 10 points against Oregon, I think they had like 380 yards of total offense. You combined that with a bad USC defense, I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see if it ends up being right. Indiana +40 at Ohio State. It's the overall value. It's the giant number. I don't agree with this bet. But again, guys, I'm just sharing data. I'm sharing numbers. This is not me. This is the total value. This is the overall value of this game. It's Indiana. You look at the simulations. They think Indiana can keep this within 40. And the general public, it's like a dangling cheese. Vegas was very smart with this line, guys. Vegas is going to steal people's money because they made such an outrageous line, and everyone's like, wow, did you see Ohio State last week? No way they can cover 40 points. And then it's 64-7, and you're like, oh my goodness. But we'll see. We'll see how this does. Pittsburgh at Virginia, the over 40. I think, you talk about these bets every day. We start seeing patterns. This game is a pattern. There's significant value in the over 40 in this game. Just off of simulations, the over, the over-under in this game probably should be like 47. It's just mislabeled. UConn plus the 14 versus Liberty plus the 14.5. That's an attractive number. That means UConn can lose by 14 and still cover. And guys, the thing is, Liberty is severely overrated by the casual college football fan base. Not by the committee, because the committee still doesn't have them ranked, but Liberty is a team that almost lost to an FCS school about a month ago. They will, I feel great about UConn and their solid defense at home. They're going to be motivated, keeping it within 14.5. UConn loves playing lower scoring games. SMU minus the 17.5 at South Florida. So when you've got an explosive offense like SMU, you're facing a bad defense. Normally, that creates a 50 burger. So we'll see if SMU can get 50 on the board right now. Tanner Mordecai, what did he have? 9 touchdown passes last week. The public and the models are looking at this game and they're saying, listen, we think SMU is going to score 50. That means South Florida has to get to the mid-30s. Probably not going to happen. People are in on SMU. They've got such an unbelievable offensive momentum after the 70 burger they had last week. LSU at Arkansas, the under 63. So this is a noon game. Guys, I actually love Arkansas to win this game. I do. It's just such a perfect setup. LSU coming off that uber emotional win against Bama at home by 1 point. It's such a setup, man, for LSU to have a letdown game. Arkansas, I understand Arkansas has a bad run defense, but they're not a horrible team. Yes, they lost to Liberty, but it was by 2 points. It's college football, whatever. I like the under, but I also like Arkansas. That line has shifted 3.5. I think that's great value. Arkansas plus 3.5. Rutgers at Michigan State, the over 40.5. So this has definitely been one of the value type picks. Just when you look at the simulations, when you look at the general public, more times than not, Rutgers is going to be able to score on Michigan State. They've got a very bad defense, and then Michigan State maybe waking up a little bit. Another good value in this game I've seen is Rutgers plus the 9.5. That line was about, I think it was 11, and then it was 10, and now it's 9.5. People are in on Rutgers. They don't believe in Michigan State. Michigan State had a very lucky win against Illinois when you look at the numbers. Some turnover luck, some variance. They still are a dumpster fire. Houston minus 20 versus Temple. I love it. I love Houston's offense. They're on a roll, very similar to SMU. When you've got an offense that's scoring a ton and you're facing a Temple team who really, outside of last week, has not shown any offensive explosiveness, you see possibly, even if we get like a 41-20 type game, you do cover. But I would more suggest something like a 44-17 type final with Houston easily covering. I don't think it's going to be a sweat it. You're going to have to sweat it out. I think Houston will cover very easily. Miami at Georgia Tech, the over 44.5. I'm concerned about this one. I am concerned about it. I don't know how good Miami's offense is going to be on the road. And if Georgia Tech ball controls this game to death and wins a closer, low-scoring game, I view that as a possible outcome, but when you look at the simulations, more times than not, this game will go over. The next one, Boston College at NC State, the over 40.5. I guess that's just overall value there. The models value the over, the public values the over. It's a lower number, 40.5, you would figure. NC State can get 28 up there. Boston, you get like a 28-14 traditional type game, you get the over. Even 28-13. Wait, 28? Yeah, 28-13 is 41. Ole Miss plus the 11.5 versus Alabama. So this is the typical dummy line. We'll see if it ends up winning. But, if you look at these two teams, we would all assume Ole Miss plus 11.5 would be good value. But if you're not a casual, you know how college football works. More times than not, in a situation like this, the other team will actually cover. So I am expecting Bama to cover the 11.5 just based off of what I've seen in the past. But the value, obviously, is on Ole Miss. Alabama has 2 losses. Ole Miss, for, their schedule's not been great. They still only have 1 loss. And they're at home facing an Alabama team that's just, the thing with Alabama, it's been 2 very close losses on the road. I understand it. It's not like Alabama's getting crushed. They're losing to good teams. I get it. North Texas plus the 6 at UAB. This one kind of surprised me, but there is value on North Texas. It must be my UAB obsession or something. I love UAB. I've lost, I've said to bet on them and I keep losing, but North Texas, definitely a team that can score points. They'll also allow a lot of points. I think another great play is the over 58 in this game. South Carolina plus 8 at Florida. I love the value here. I think it's an overreaction. I know South Carolina has not been good recently. They got ranked, and then they completely just lost it there on offense. But plus 8 at Florida, I think it's going to be a close game. I do. I could see South Carolina covering. The value is on South Carolina. Kansas plus the 3.5 at Texas Tech. It seems like another dummy line. Just these two teams. You would think Kansas, they're on the road, but they've been better than Texas Tech this season. I actually, in my best bets, have Texas Tech -4, so probably not a good omen there, but it just feels like a line where everyone's on Kansas, yet Texas Tech somehow covers. I also like the over in this game. The public loves the over 64. As well. Baylor -2.5 versus Kansas State. I love it. I love Baylor at home. They win by a field goal. That's why the 2.5 is so attractive, especially for Baylor at home, who's very motivated. If they win this game, they get ranked. They're just straight up better than Kansas State, in my opinion. North Carolina at Wake Forest, the under 77. So, listen. Wake Forest is not good on defense. North Carolina is not good on defense. They both have good offenses. They both have good quarterbacks. It is a very high number. You're going to need maybe a few turnovers in this game. The positive with like an over-under at 77, you get into the 30s, it's still very possible. I mean, think about it. Like 40 to 36, the under hits. The issue with these college games, they get real squirrely. And you get one of these teams into the 50s and the under's trashed. But the value, according to this, is on the under. I would really be careful about an under 77 just because every week I see these people doing the same thing. There's a Pac-12 game where the over-under's in the 70 and they auto-bet the under and it loses every week. It always seems to happen. San Jose State -2.5 at San Diego State. So there's strong public backing of San Jose State, and really the models love San Jose State to go on the road and beat the Aztecs in their new stadium. And guys, San Diego State has a really bad offense. San Jose State has a good defense. I love the under in that game as well. The under 41. Hawaii plus the 11.5 versus Utah State. That's a situation where people think Utah State is so bad. There's no way they're covering the 11.5 on the road. And Hawaii, for as bad as they were last week, they got annihilated by Fresno State. They have at least shown a pulse against bad Mountain West teams. And then how about the Utah State at Hawaii under 52.5? So there's really a strong opinion that this game is going to be a closer, low-scoring affair with Hawaii covering, because those two things have just been bet to death. The value is on both of those things. So, that's a pretty strong one. Lower scoring game, Hawaii, Utah State, and Hawaii covering right now is the total value in that one. So guys, this is just something new I'm trying. We'll see how well it does. I love trying different things. I would love to see a positive result from these bets. Again, some of them I don't like, but I mean, listen, these are not my opinion. Sometimes it's better to just totally detach yourself, follow a formula. And obviously, this is just an experiment. I'm not, no one go out and bet all these games. But I would love a situation, man, if I could create a formula of every week it's going to be different, but 17 to 20 games where you follow the same formula and you bet $100 on each line. And if you're constantly going 14-6, you're winning, $500 every week for free just based off a formula. There's no input from the human. I'm just taking data and I'm inputting into here and it's spitting these numbers out. So it is interesting, guys. We'll see how this does this week, but that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.